Thank you, my friends, for joining us again on this short video here. As you know, a lot of us leaders and the members of the leaders have been working very hard for the last few years. And as you also know, our opposition has become more capable, more brazen, more sophisticated in how they are blocking us. I just got to say it. So the folks here at Defend Florida, what we are doing in our election security work is we're continuing to do the work, the activism, as it were. We're also trying to just kind of incorporate or bring into what we're doing the reality that this is also a spiritual war. It is not a political war. There
Mm-hmm.
is darkness, and at the time we're recording this, in this country where everything is supposed to be going in a good direction, they are rioters and they're perpetrators that are funding those rioters. It's evil what they're doing. They're damage to property. So I don't need to bore you with all that. I'm sure you're aware of that. But the reason I'm delighted to have Ruth Koffold with me today is she brings a tremendous depth of experience and expertise in what I just mentioned. So without further delay, Ruth, for the folks that don't know you, the work you're doing, there's so many things that you're doing. I'd love for you to mention the Liberty Bell thing and some of these other works that you're doing. Believe it or not, in Brevard, your location is also distinct as well. So
Yeah.
you could just bring a little background, and then we'll get right into the meat of what we want to go and get into, Ruth.
Well, Raj, thank you so much for having me today. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and your viewers. My whole objective here in Brevard County was to just retire, to just be, after 40 years in the swamp. I did work in the swamp as a Medicaid analyst, computer analyst, and as a software engineer. And so I had to recover actually from the swamp. So it took me a couple years, but God had a different plan. And I had been studying wall builders and Patriot Academy through David Barton, Tim Barton, and Rick Green, just because I was studying my own family history. So, long story short, I became a Brevard County Constitution coach. I, at the time of COVID, had been teaching it for a couple of years, and COVID hits and everybody shut down. But God provided an avenue for me to still teach the class at an American Legion post where private clubs didn't have to adhere to some of these other mask mandates that people had. So, teaching the Constitution to save the Constitution is basically why we do this, so that we want to help others understand that our founding documents were created from the Bible. Our founders were very knowledgeable. They read the Bible cover to cover every year. So that Bible knowledge was instilled in them for over 150 years since the landing of the Pilgrims and the people in Jamestown as well. For the past 20 years, he's been creating statesmen. So there's statesmen and there's politicians. A politician is looking towards the next election. A statesman is looking towards the next generation. God works generationally, such as in the story of Samson, the story of Joseph, David, where we have to wait as a people for these people, our heroes, to come of age and be blessed by God to provide us a leader, a godly leader. So, teaching biblical citizenship and to engage people in salt and light so that we can share that knowledge that we just gained in biblical citizenship to let people know that we are a godly nation. We have always been a godly nation, blessed by God, and even more blessed by God. The nation, because of their interest in partnering with Israel, is doubly blessed. So our founders knew that. Patriot Academy, like Raj is showing today, is looking to do a Reclaim America right now, and the blueprint for doing that. They train 16 to 25-year-olds to be those statesmen, to be those leaders that will be our congressmen and congresswomen to uh, run the country. So if you think that we have people that are not right, the places where we get our congressmen are from our schools, from our faith teachers. So we've gotten away from that in the past 100 years, basically, since John Quincy Adams passed away. That created the end of the founding era. Therefore, the secularists started up in, of all places, Columbia University. They created all these secularist instructors and so on and so forth. And now we're reaping the results of those things that happened back then. And that's why Harvard is the way it is. That's why Columbia is the way it is. This has been going on for a very long time. This is not something that just happened. So like the riots that you mentioned, they planned that. You just don't have a stack of bricks showing up somewhere like happened January 6th. It happened again in Los Angeles County. You don't have all this anarchy and craziness happening just because, people got, oh, I don't like that cop. That's not it. It's all planned. It's all planned.
And the thing that I'm hearing from what you're saying, Ruth, and you're right on point, and as we saw on Patriot Academy's website, the role of biblical principles and Christ-like character predates anyone who's watching this
That's
video by a long shot. By a long
yeah.
shot.
I
This is
mean,
not.
and we've always had, a great awakening. Well, we're in our third great awakening because we get comfortable after something happens. God tell us stay on point, but when we humans, don't stay on point, we have to get reminded again. And that's why biblical citizenship, Constitution alive, reclaim liberty, and then honor America, which is one of the custodians of the Liberty Bell Museum in Brevard County. We have an exact replica of the Liberty Bell that was cast for in Independence Hall. That exact replica, we proclaim liberty throughout and teach that throughout Brevard County. What we do at Honor America is preserve the artifacts. We're a museum that we want to keep that liberty alive. So what we're doing, we're going to be creating a birthday party for the entire month, for the entire year of 2026. So we will kick it off in January. We'll have a birthday party for America to proclaim liberty throughout the land. And we want to uh, highlight our Liberty Bell, our America, and the history of the Melbourne Liberty Bell. A lot of people don't know we exist here in Liberty Bell. We, the people, are legislative. So those of us that actually think that there are three branches of government that are, the myth is they are equal. They're not equal. Early on, I selected two different groups. I worked for another organization called Citizens Defending Freedom, and they have a similar organizational structure as you're explaining. And what we did was is that we identified those groups that were election minded or
Yeah.
faith minded or biblically or school board. Okay, I don't have kids in these schools here, so I really don't have skin in the game. But we activated Moms for Liberty, Moms for America. They are the watchdogs of the school board right now. And so we're educating our citizens to say, look, here's 3 minutes. What can you do with it? Here's 3 minutes. You need to say this professionally. We don't want to be like Loudoun County and go crazy and, do whatever and be thrown out. But the point being is that we want to let the school board and all of our government officials, hey, we're in charge. You didn't get there by yourself, so you can be removed. You can be removed and it can happen. So some of the governments are trying to restrict our participation, and in our government in Palm Bay, Florida, I have been appointed to the Charter Commission. So this is where you have an opportunity to change your laws in your city. So this is where we have the opportunity to make those changes, reverse those things like President Trump is doing that has silenced citizens in the past. So we want to make sure that our voices are heard and they're heard throughout the land, just like the Liberty Bell, proclaim liberty. Leviticus 25:10 is on the Liberty Bell. So you cannot say that America is not a godly nation.
Wow, I didn't know that. See, look at this. So my friends, this is why we're putting this video together to show that our spiritual heritage and the spiritual battle ahead of us is part and parcel. It's part and parcel of this activism work that we're doing. So if you're interested in that for either the reasons you just heard from Joanne, or the reasons such as getting better at raising more money earlier in your county so that these candidates that Joanne and I are talking about that you find are actually having the war chest necessary to fund the victory. That's an
Yeah.
important thing. That's part of reclaimcampaign.com. Third thing is what you heard from Joanne also saying, we're both saying it, the opportunity to bring these different camps together for a short period of time so that we can increase our force. So if any of that is of interest to you, please go to reclaimcampaign.com, reclaimcampaign.com. And if you're interested in some of the material that Joanne mentioned, there's patriotacademy.com that we just talked about. And the exact link to their biblical citizenship is on our faith section. Joanne, you mentioned a number of other things. Are there any other websites for the Liberty Bell movement, for the celebration campaign that you're going to be doing in 2026? Any other websites that we can direct people to?
For educational purposes, I would say that you could go to wallbuilders.com. You can go to Providence Foundation, excuse me, Providence Foundation. And uh, the last one I do is saltandlightcouncil.org. Salt and Light Council continues our discussion in government and faith and making sure that citizens are engaged. We use tools there that we can, all of these tools with all of these groups. We use Patriot Academy as a campaign coach, for example. We can train our campaign candidates, prospective candidates, that we're looking for new candidates for 26 right now because we're almost late. We really do need to start early in the campaign candidate searches for these prospective positions. So we want to interview people that I mean, if you know a strong person that kind of witches at the TV, well, maybe they are a good candidate. They might be able to be that person that could be that representative and do those things. So we're teaching our citizens how to look for candidates, how to interview them. We are teaching our citizens how to represent themselves in a school board or a city council meeting. So these are the types of things where we, the people, are going to start standing up for God and for country and for family. Because if you have a bad country, basically, they will become the enemy to the family. So that's why your priorities should be God, country, and family. Because once your country becomes an enemy to the family, you're done. I mean, Cuba, Germany, all these places where they got overthrown. So to let history teach you, don't do that. Don't stand down like the Jewish people did in Germany. Don't let them roll over you, but do it professionally. We don't want to be portrayed as anarchists or people that should be arrested or something like that. We are citizens. We live here. We want to be some place that is free, and we're the last free country on this globe.
I so appreciate you sharing those resources and links. At the very bottom of this video here, you will see the links that Ruth just referred to. And I look forward to speaking with you again very soon, Ruth.
All right. Thank you so much.